Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. Week 0. Week 0 is upon us. College football is upon us. Bearcat football 1 week away from being completely upon us. Preparation, excitement, intensity. It's all here as the Bearcats get ready for year 2 of the Coach Scott Satterfield era. Year 2 in the Big 12. And, of course, another year with Bearcat Journal covering all of it. Another Monday following a week of coverage, the wrapping up of the annual trip to Camp Higher Ground, the excitement that brews every fall camp. But, man, football is in the air. It might be hot outside, but it is excitement in the air as well. It's a Monday. We're going to bring on some guys, some pals. We're going to be without the Lone Ranger, the undisputed leader, the cold plunge extraordinaire, but we're going to replace him with one of the best, and a man who the great Dan Horde once said, it's a man who is great every day. He brings it every single day. That's right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on him and a couple of other guys. Aaron Smith, Ryan Royer, maybe, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nico Palizzetti. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm great, dude. I'm awesome. Once again, humbled for the opportunity and for the introduction. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you've been grinding. It's been a complete grind. Bring it every day. Dan Horde said it. Obviously, we see it on all the clips. Chad mentions it every single day that we hear from him. So hey, man, it's finally great to see you again. You were supposed to come on before you hit Camp Higher Ground, but you had the right thing in mind that Monday right before you left to beautiful, what is it, Harrison, Indiana, and so you made the right decision there. But we're happy to have you on. As excitement is here. Week 0, Nico. Is it week 0? What? It's kind of a strange thing, but hey, it means college football's back, and the Bearcats. Wow, just the countdown continues. I mean, it's exciting. It is exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah, week 0 is kind of an awkward time. Like as a coach, you're always. You have to anticipate just a lot of change because you go from the routine of camp, and then we go back to campus. School technically starts next week, but you have welcome week. You have a bunch of distraction. You have the depth chart starting to be solidified. You have a lot of dynamics at play, and so it's always an interesting week. And you just kind of trust the strength of your guys, trust the strength of the culture, and you just kind of just push through. And today was a really good day. So exciting to be back. We had a weekend off. We had a scrimmage on Friday, Saturday, Sunday off after going, gosh, I don't even know how many days we went in a row, but it was a well-deserved break. And then we're back at it again. So pushing through, having our mock game on Friday, then game week starts on Sunday.
I mean, that's exciting. Week 0 for me is really like diving in as much as I can to what Montana State looks like this year. How are they going to stack up against New Mexico? Maybe Delaware State and Hawaii. That little midnight kickoff there. That's week 0 for me. But I'm more excited for what passes after that. Aaron, sir, how are we?
You say that like a true gambling degenerate. I love it.
Nah, me? No way. No way.
I'm good. The babies are still alive, so we've made it another week. I'm just happy to see another day with both of them breathing.
I mean, it's become my side story throughout every single week, is like just waiting to hear the update on Monday.
She just walks up sometimes to the infant. The toddler walks up to the infant sometimes. Just smacks him right in the head. No reason, no rhyme or reason for it. We generally have noticed when she has something that is hard, like hard plastic, like a baby doll or a Stanley Cup, just different things that she'll cock back and start swinging, again, for no real rhyme or reason, generally at the baby. So I don't think it comes from a malicious place at this point in time. I don't know if she knows that emotion yet, but it's debatable.
I mean, Nico, is this familiar? I know you got a couple little ones of your own.
Yeah, Aaron and I are blood brothers. A, 2 girls. B, 2 toddlers. 20 months. What was your age difference, Aaron?
19? Yeah, something like that. It might be 23 months.
Putting them on the spot, Nico.
If you're under 2 years, you're doing God's work. Like you deserve, like, you get a high five because you're just swinging. You can't do math, and for me, miracle baby happened, and here we are. We were 20 months, just under 20, but we're like 19 months, and yeah, we're here. We're telling the story, right? We're here
every day.
We're doing it
every day. Is a small success.
We're doing it, man. I think one's down. I think the other one's going down.
There we go.
Find out based on crying soon. So there you go.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Look at us. And now Uncle Nico as well. That's got a little tune to it, Uncle Nico.
Yes.
Well,
I've been an uncle. I've been an uncle for quite some time on my wife's side, but this is my first. My sister had a baby, and so they had she had like a sip and see, which apparently is big in the South, but it's after you have the baby, everyone just has a party and gets drunk. And so here we were. It was the opportunity, and I got to meet my niece, and I was fired up about it.
I mean, that's the funniest thing is, and I'm sure you guys have both been well inclined with this, is just like, okay, now that everyone's starting to have kids, I don't have any, but my friends do. And it's all of a sudden, hey, you're getting invited to Bo's 3-year-old birthday party. You want to come? It's like, who's all coming? He's like, everyone. All right, yeah, I'll be there. And then it just becomes a party for us, the adults, and
the adults.
While Bo and little ones run around. So yeah, shouts to that, man. Congrats on that. And Uncle Nico, I guess I was thinking Uncle Rico. You could probably throw it over those mountains too, though.
Quarter mile,
man. But I'm excited for when Royer joins us. He'll be here soon. A little bit of computer difficulty, and of course, we mentioned the fearless leader, also not here. Chad Brendel. He had a volleyball game about 20 minutes north of Louisville, I believe. Well, he didn't. It'd be fun to watch Chad bumps that spike out there, but Kelsey had a 6 p.m. game, but a little complications with the team getting there. Didn't start till 7, and so the timing for Chad getting back, we'll see. I'm sure, knowing Chad, he will find some way somehow to pop on for at least a few. So he'll be here. But until Royer gets here, I've got one more thing to say before we dive into the full conversations, because I know a lot of people are going to start to make these trips. What Labor Day weekend coming up this weekend, you might be driving to a lake house or going somewhere here or there. You might want to get something tuned up before you make these trips. That's why I'm going to let you know that we have a bit of an oil change special over at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. My man Danco Joe wanted me to let everyone know, to celebrate the first Bearcat football game on August 31st, tell Danco Joe that Nico sent you. Get an oil change for $31. That's right. Bearcats roar. The season's here. Nico's voice is loud and clear. For $31, an oil change is yours. Just mention Nico, and then you'll score. Wow. See Danco Joe for details. Go to danco.com. Deal ends September 1st. Danco Joe, I love you. That was cheesy and beautiful. That is right up my alley. But yeah. That was
incredible. That was like Biggie reciting it. I think it was unbelievable. It was poetry. That was
I know. I need a little beatbox in the background. Oh, haikus are my special. What, 575? Ooh, taking me back. A little honors English class. Nico, smart. Smart man. But you know what? Hey, let's dive into it. Without further filibustering, you were in Camp Higher Ground for year 2 of your tenure of visits to Camp Higher Ground. I guess first off, because everyone loves to ask about it, your thoughts on Camp Higher Ground and what it does to build the team, especially this season with so many new faces and kind of a new overall theme as culture and this, that, and the other. What did Camp Higher Ground do special this season? What changed it from year 1 to year 2 for you?
That's a great question. It's a great way to start. I think People have asked me my thoughts on this camp compared to last camp, and honestly, I say it's incomparable. Like I don't think you can even compare the two camps for multiple reasons, and we can get into more depth. I think what Camp Higher Ground is it gives you exactly what you seek to get out of it. And I think last year it was a different approach, both from the players and staff. And this year, I think knowing what the expectations was and knowing how close we were going into camp from a connection standpoint, we really embraced it. And I think the leaders did an incredible job. So we reported on Tuesday. God, I can't even think, the 30th of July.
Yeah.
And so we had a kind of an iron standard dinner, just like a little ceremony, a banquet almost, to recognize the accomplishments of the summer. And the leaders are we call them the Bearcat Council. It's about 20 guys, and they've done an incredible job all summer. They actually had organized a player-led meeting, and so they organized it as soon as we were done with the Iron Standard dinner. The players had a player-only meeting. They had a PowerPoint slide. They went over all the player expectations, and I think that really, really. And then following that, we had a team meeting. And you could just see just the maturity and the leadership from that standpoint, and what their intent was, and how much they understood what this camp needed to be, and what they emphasized in that whole meeting. And I thought it was an incredible job. And you could feel that player-led energy. You could feel that whole camaraderie and that connection that we had over the course of the summer that we had built. And that's the thing, like, you don't know, like in the summer, it's all kumbaya, right? Like it's just nothing but work, and it's not really football, and it's you train to build camaraderie, and you train, and you introduce adversity, and you do all these different things, but it's still manufactured. It's not football, and you never really know, like, how tight will we become when a depth chart gets introduced? How tight can we stay when people are competing for the same playing time? How tight will we be when we hit adversity and it's practice 8 of camp and it's just a dog day? And how are you going to respond when you're removed from your friends and family and you're just hanging out with your teammates in a place in Indiana, and West Harrison, Indiana? And so there's all those things you don't know. And to be honest, you put so much work into it, you're a little anxious about it. I was incredibly anxious. And all of July, really, I'm just thinking, how is this going to transfer? How is this going to transfer? How can we bridge this gap? What can we introduce? What can we do for camp? And I think the staff did a really, really good job of really trying to make it as inclusive as possible and bring everybody together and have events and do different fun and engaging things just to make it so it felt like a camp. It felt like something that we were all in it together. And it just organically, if you were just a fly on the wall, you would see the guys being incredibly accountable and having a great attention to detail. So from times of meetings, from meals, from doing all these different things, like everyone was on time, everyone ate. The players enforce each other to do it. Like all the non-fun, sexy things that no one talks about, the players took complete ownership of it. There was no issues, and it was incredible to see. And then you go and you watch practice, and I thought it was rugged and tough. And when there was energy lacking, when it's dog days, like players picked it up and players sparked energy and guys responded. And in scrimmages, our first scrimmage was 120 play scrimmage, which is absurdly amount of plays. It was like a 3.5 hour scrimmage. And, offense came out swinging. So then you see, like the defense, how are they going to respond? And then the defense came back and they started making plays, and everyone just stayed together and showed a real strength through adversity in that regard. And, you have some setbacks, you have some injuries, and guys just kind of just keep playing and pushing through it. And it was really inspiring to see. And then you look at nighttime, you see guys playing cards, playing spades, playing Uno, playing, just hanging out on the field for hours. Like you had to tell guys to leave and go to bed. So that's everything that I hoped it would be. It was everything. And I got to be honest, like, I don't like the word proud because it makes me feel like my opinion matters in regard. Like it's not my place to say that I'm proud of that, but I was really proud. I was really, really proud of how the guys stayed together. And, you go on a 2-day weekend, you come back. I thought practice was really clean today. And, obviously we're getting back into it, but different format. So the routine's a little off, but it was exciting. It was really exciting. And the guys did an incredible job. They worked their butts off. And, it's a really promising thing to see.
Oh, the man.
Sorry, guys. My laptop just went to hell right when I logged on. I don't know what was going on. I had a black screen going for a while, but we're here.
Yeah,
back, baby.
You know, Roy, like I told Nico, it's preseason for us podcasters too. So you know, we're gonna slowly get there. No worries.
Got to figure out what the hell just happened. Make sure it doesn't happen again. Right, Nico? It's coachability.
Unbelievable. Look at you problem solving. This guy is just pure resiliency.
That's what you want to call working on a freaking computer. I guess you can say that.
There you go.
Right. Hard work.
Nico, you say you don't like to use the word proud, but you and what you did in the offseason kind of set the tone for camp. It set the tone for the spring. It set the tone for this whole season, really. How do you not look back at everything that you kind of started and not feel proud?
Well, thank you. I mean, it's such a team effort, you know. It's such a group of people, and I still. We've talked about this last time we were on the podcast. Like, we haven't won any games yet, and I know this group's incredibly well deserving to win games, and I hope we win the amount of games that's deserving of how hard we worked, which would be all of them. But you never know, and so that's all we can do. We worked really, really hard, and we put ourselves in position to have success, and we got to keep pushing and keep growing. And so that's why you know I just one day at a time and just trying to just keep pushing and keep the standard and keep trying to enforce it. And it's exciting though. It's very, very exciting, and it is very gratifying to see all that hard work and all that sacrifices that these guys have put in kind of translate to when it actually matters. And that's really rewarding.
Roy, you want to pop in?
Yeah. Do you have any like big time moments where you felt, I know you were kind of mentioned, like you saw the team playing cards and kind of getting closer and you kind of felt them bonding. Did you have any like moments like where you noticed on the field where you really saw like guys step up and kind of really come together in adversity, or any specific moment or story, something that we can kind of hang a hat on and really say I know you were just saying you don't like the word proud, but you were kind of proud of the guys and how far they've been coming during this summer.
Yeah, and I have one. I'm an accountability culture guy, so this is not very sexy. But I thought it made me very, very happy. So you know, in the summer we're talking about, because in the summer it's so black and white. Like there's a discipline protocol. Like this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. Like it's very easy. Like because there's one person, it all goes through me, so it's very easy. And the season accountability is a little different structuring, right? Like position coaches, you got head coach, you got strength and conditioning, you got all these different avenues. And so it's a much more organic thing. The one thing that I was really proud of is we talked about it in camp, and we talked about it in the summer in the end of July, and we said, you know, what happens if someone's late? What happens if this happens? What happens if this someone, like, just trying to set the groundwork. We're talking with the leaders, and they called it Bearcat Court. And they said, if it happens, the leaders of the Bearcat Council, so there's position group representatives in the council. They said, we got it. I said, all right, like that's cool. That's cool in July, right? That's cool in July 30th. But what about on August 12th? Like, you know, like what about when you're in the dog days and you're worried about your playing time? Well, we had a player that was late. He was a defensive lineman, and he had fallen asleep, and his roommate got up and he dozed back off, so he's late for a workout. And so I go to snap, and there's about 5 guys. They stop me. They push my hand. They go, no, we got it. And they sprint back to his room. And it was actually Eric Phillips, kicks down the door and grabs him and walks him back and throws him in. And everyone wants to like crucify this kid. I'm like, okay, like everyone relax. And everyone, you know, they're all, and it was just a really cool, and you know, he didn't mean anything by it. It is what it is. We're going to learn from it. We had an accountability structure in place, the players, but just to see the player-led leadership and the players, how much it meant to the players, and how disappointed they were. And really, I go from being the one that wants to be mad and make a scene, and they were the ones, I'm like, easy, guys, easy. You know, I'm the one pulling them back. So that was a really, really proud moment, just to see how much it meant to them and how much being on, like, for a player to realize, like, no, like, if we can't trust this player to be on time, how can we trust him to make a play? And everyone on the position group, it meant a lot. So that was really cool. The black shirt meant a lot. That was an organic thing. People have asked me that a lot. People like, how did that come about? That's organic. That like we had the shirts in the summer, and we said all newcomers wear white because they haven't done anything. It's like if you're a freshman or if you're a transfer, you don't get to wear the black shirt because you weren't here in the winter, and the winter was awful. I mean, I'll admit it was awful. It was brutal. Like literally, we're running in like 9 degrees. Like it was awful. So like for us to say like you deserve a black shirt, like no, like you had to be here in July or January and February. Like that was the dog days, man. Like, so you don't deserve it. And so like for me, like, no, like you don't deserve it. When we feel like you deserve it. And then the players started feeling like, well, they started nominating guys in their crew. And then as we've gotten closer to the season, then we said like, well, it's positional now. Like, and it's been really cool because, you know, in the summer, it all makes sense. But does it matter in the season? And the guys have all, like they've carried it on. Like it's their thing, man. Like, no, like they feel like their teammates are worthy or not worthy to wear that shirt. And all that shirt represents is like you're part of the club. Like you're a Bearcat. Like you live up to our standard. So it means something to them. I get goosebumps, but like that's what it means to them. Like the biggest thing, the biggest punishment you can have on someone is you take their shirt, you give them a white shirt. Like that hurts. That hurts. Like that hurts. Like that hurts a player. Like if you take his black shirt, that hurts him. And so like that means a lot. And the players are the ones like deal like, no, like I'll be like, it's a week. Like, okay, guys, he was 3 minutes late to launch. Like, can we give him his shirt back? Like, no. Like, and so like, you know, it's really cool. It means a lot to them and they understand what it meant. That was a really cool moment. I thought paintball was really cool. I mean, I don't know if you saw that on social media.
You win?
I didn't play. I didn't have to play. Like, you don't know how those things are going to go out. It's like the second week of camp. You're like, all right, let's go up to the top of the hill and shoot each other. And like you know, like the linebackers would be into it, like the you know, the D lineman would be into it, but like, you know, your wideout is going to be down, or your DB is going to be down, or like, you know, like they practiced that morning and they worked out. Like they didn't. It's not like it replaced anything. Like it was just like, all right, we're gonna go shoot each other now, and everyone's like, let's do it. So everyone was like having a blast, and so then you see that connection in that regard, and like everyone like. There's no cool guy shit. Like there's no cool guy. Like I don't feel like everyone's like, let's do it. I'm all in. Like from Xavier Henderson wide out to, you know, like everybody, like everyone just wanted to be a part of it and thought it was really cool. Like, you know, you're
who's
like,
the biggest at paintball?
Oh, well, we did it in crews. So we went back to the crews. Crew 4 won.
Were they SEAL Team 6 out there?
It was the final was Crew 4 versus they call themselves SEAL Team 6, Crew 6. And it was the Dingle, Derek Canteen, Varner crew won it. And they played to the high ground. They had smoke bombs. They were starting because we were launching smoke bombs that just clouded up. They got crafty. They were taking the smoke bombs and throwing them back over. It was wild. It was so fun. So seeing that stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, I could go on for hours, but also like we did senior talks and player talk or coach talks and at night. And, you know, like, you're a grown man. You guys have stories, and you hear grown men be incredibly vulnerable to their teammates and their staff and the whole program, and tell stories of their childhood or tell stories of what it was like and their hardship. And like, that stuff's emotional, man. Like that stuff's emotional. And to be that vulnerable in front of your program shows the trust that we have. So there was a lot of moments that I could go on forever, but it was a really exciting time.
Less about the paintball. What would you say was one of the bigger plays or like cooler plays you saw happen at camp, either offense or defense? Something that you kind of like lit you up a little bit, got you going?
The first scrimmage we had was 120 plays. It was a grinder of a day. You know, I liked that. That was one of my favorite days. It was a high energy day. The offense came out swinging. Joe Royer had 4 touchdowns. The wideouts were playing great.
Weather was amazing.
All the quarterback play was fantastic. The O-line was just coming off the ball. My favorite part of that whole thing was the defense had a slow start and then just rallied and just came back and started making plays. And no one blamed each other. There was no pouting. There was no BCD. There was none of that crap. Like everyone just rallied and everyone trusted each other to make plays. And then they started making some turnovers. And it was a really cool, like, that's what you want to see in a scrimmage, right? Like you want to see it go both ways, and you want to see you know, offense make big explosive plays, but you also want to see the defense respond and come back with their own plays and be stout on the run. So you got to see both those dynamics, and you know, you work so hard, and to see that like show on week 1, I thought it was a really clean scrimmage. We ran 120 plays. I think we only had 4 turnovers until at the end it got a little sloppy because an hour 3.5 it was tough. But you know, got some stuff to work on. But I thought it was a really good day. So that was really rewarding to see. And shoot, man, at higher ground with some of the cooler plays. Man, there was a lot. It was just a lot of competition and a lot of, like, you look at our secondary and you see a lot of really good players. You could probably go 2 deep and all those guys could start, and they're all encouraging each other. They're all rallying against each other. They're all rallying for each other. When one makes a play, the whole sideline goes nuts. And it's really cool. It's a cool dynamic right now.
You know, one of the big storylines that kind of caught a lot of steam on the social media front was heading into fall camp was having 12 players reach at least 22 miles per hour during the summer workouts. You finally were able to see everyone strap the pads on and kind of get that game speed, if you will. Have you seen that translate at a high level, just the overall speed of this team this year compared to last season, if you will? And also, tip of the cap to you on that. That's a big shout out, because that's a lot of additional speed that has been added and produced through the summer workouts.
Recruiting helps too, so I appreciate it.
There we go.
But, no, I think I mean, you guys know, you guys have a different perspective because you're viewing it from a lens that you saw last year, and then you're getting this exposure. So I'm so close to it; it's hard for me to tell. The one thing I do see is I see a level of athleticism that we didn't have last year. I see a level of professionalism and practice habits that I didn't see last year. I see cleaner movement. I see cleaner. I see guys being able to execute plays from an athletic standpoint that we probably couldn't. And then you see the whole line, just like the camaraderie they have and how they work so well together and they play together. So you get the depth there. So they're just coming off the ball, and the things they're able to do is really, really impressive. So I do see that. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, Roy, were you there at either of the scrimmages? I know Aaron was.
I was not there.
They look faster. I mean, you can see that the team just generally looks. They look bigger. Like when we saw teams like Oklahoma walk onto the field, they looked head and shoulders taller, bigger than Cincinnati. You feel like the team's kind of moving that direction, and I think that's good to see. You can definitely tell that the team is faster offensively and defensively. You can physically see it. There's no question about it. They're making plays that last year, I don't know that there's guys on, defensive plays that would have been able to make those stops. I don't think there were guys in the quarterback room and in the wide receiver room that would be able to make those pass and catch that they're making in some of the scrimmages now. So you're certainly seeing some things. As far as the offensive and defensive line goes, that's a little harder to see even in some of the scrimmage, because that just to watch injury, that these guys aren't probably going full 110% that they would normally go in game speed. But outside of that, I think that the linebackers are flying all over the place. The running backs, they all, especially, we didn't see much of Corey Kiner, but the backups all looked like they fit in what you want a Big 12 team to be. So yeah, I think that you can certainly see it. The product is absolutely improved.
Thank you. I really agree.
Do you feel like there was anything you directly addressed in this offseason, whether it be like we just mentioned speed, but like was there a certain style of training or certain like specific split you wanted to do on a specific workout that you kind of really saw pop off here in this summer, like explosiveness, speed, strength, or overall just like toughness or something along those lines that you felt like after last year? Like I know we worked really hard, not we, but you worked really hard and the guys worked really hard on really addressing kind of like accountability, mental and physical toughness. But was there some sort of like exercise or specific thing you wanted to drill home that you've noticed really take hold here this summer?
That's a great question too. I think summer is really tricky because you got to get them ready for 3 things. Number one is you you have to get them ready for fall camp, right? Like fall camp's such an animal. Like you're covering over 5,000 yards of practice, 6 consecutive days, like, 30,000 yards. Like you have to be able to get the yardage and the player load to an appropriate place where they can handle those loads repetitively and then also not get injured with acute spikes. So like you gotta program, you gotta get them ready for camp. So that's number one from a physical standpoint. Number two is you owe it to them to improve their the physical performance. You owe it to them to improve the metrics. So like you're trying to get them stronger, faster, more powerful as a whole. So you're creating individualized objective goals as well. So you're getting them ready for fall camp. You're getting them closer to you want to improve their best. So you want to get them objectively better. And then also on that individual front, you're trying to improve them as individuals. So in the winter, we asked them, what do you want? So we asked them flat out. I met with every single player. So what do you want? Like, what do you want? And I like to do that just so I know exactly what they want. I have them write it down below their objective goal. So this is your best. These are what your summer goals are or winter goals is what we want you to accomplish. And then we compare it to the gold standards of the position group. So like if you say you want to be an all Big 12 performer, like this is what the metrics look like. This is what an all pro Big 12 running backs pro shuttle should be. This is what their 10 electronic time should be. This is what their broad jump and vertical and bench press and 225. This is the rougher. Okay, you want to be a first round draft pick? Okay, well, we have NFL combine data that says this is what it looks like. It's objective. So this is where you are. This is what our goals are for you. And this is where you are in relative to all conference performer and a first round draft pick, an elite all pro player. So like, there's your objective. There's what you say you want. So from a subjective standpoint, so there's those individual, right? Like we're trying to get them ready for camp. We're trying to improve them as an individual, both objectively and subjectively. And then the last thing is you view it through the lens of it has to be hard. Like if it's not hard, like I don't want to do it. Like, and then like, that's the hard part, right? Like then there's the cultural component. So everything you're viewing it through the lens of, is it competitive? Is it demanding? Is it challenging? Is it going to force connection and teamwork? Is it going to push them to the edge? Is it going to make them hold accountable? So like, it's like the cocktail of that. And you try to make it as balanced as possible. But we don't train to test, if that makes sense. Like some programs train to test. Like if we train to test, well, you're doing them a disservice of one of those three. Like we just train, and if they get better, they get better. And they're going to get better if they do it right. I thought the coolest part was like, so we had a performance week, which was the second to last week. And so we ran our 10 and 20, but like we also in that week had the highest overall workload. So like we went for, we totaled 17,000 yards that week. So like we pushed them as hard as they could be pushed. So yes, we were trying to improve their physical standards, but we also pushed them as hard as they could be pushed. So like you're probably not going to get your best numbers if you're doing both those things. But like we're trying to get them ready for camp. So like cool, they run a really good max velocity, but then they get hurt because they're not prepared for camp. So like, you know what I mean? So like I'd rather err on the side of get them ready for camp. Well, the next week we actually started we kind of pulled back a little bit, and we pulled back just to get them ready for camp. So you pull back, you take 4 days off, and then you get right into camp. So that was our whole plan the whole time. Well, we did our build up as they're coming off that high. So we built them up and then we started pulling back. So they start to get refreshed and some of that fatigue gets removed. Well, the last day, right before, we just ran a build up. The whole goal is, hey, just hit 90%, just get your 90%, just nice and easy. Well, that was our fastest day. We had 10 guys on that day alone hit their max. Like we hit, I think we had over 45 guys PR that day. And then in that day, we had 10 guys alone that day hit 22 miles an hour on that day alone. The guys were woo, 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 woo. And you're like, holy crap. Like that's when you're like, oh snap, we did something right. Like that's awesome. Like, so you know what I methean? Like you're not trying to do that. The fact that you do that shows how the guys respond to the workload that you do, and you hope they get that response. That's a testament to their how they're recovering and being a professional and having a great performance routine. But that was just a cool moment. So it's a hard balance, and I'd rather err on the side of being really aggressive from a cultural standpoint and making it really hard and really demanding. And if they PR, great. But I know for a fact that they're training and they're testing throughout that whole process. So when they do get to pro day or they do get to the combine, like they are a machine. They know the drills. They know how to execute the drills. And when they're not fatigued, getting ready for camp, that they're going to blow that out of the water as well. And so that's kind of like we're trying to get them ready for now, but also prepare them for the future. And when they're fresh, they're going to murder that as well.
Did anybody during camp really stand out to you from a like you actually couldn't believe what you saw on the field that translated from the work that you did, or did anybody kind of surprise you in a leadership role that they took on?
There's a lot of guys that you see what they could be, and then just like the level of what 20 pounds makes. Like you look at Armani Arnold. Like Armani Arnold came in and, you know, he was, I don't even know, maybe in the high 60s, 170, low 170s. And Armani Arnold's 185 packed up now. And what he can do compared to where he was in spring ball to where he is now is unbelievable. And you just see what 20 pounds makes and the difference that his play is able to do. Minkins at safety, I mean, he came in at 188. He's about 202 right now. And he's coming downhill, and he jumped 37.5-inch vertical. Like he can do a lot of just freaky things. You see that. You know, a wideout. We have a lot of just really, really just skilled wideouts that have developed. Xavier Henderson's developed. Aaron Turner's developed. Sterling Burkhalter's developed. Tyron Smith's developed. All these young guys have developed. Kale and Dakari and you look at the newcomers, you look at Tony Johnson and Jim White, named all the wideouts, but you look at Evan Prater's development. So you see their development, you see how it just, they get more comfortable in the position. We've done position work throughout the whole year. So you see that skill set develop. From a line standpoint, you see the O-linemen, just their work and how they're stronger. You see Phil Wilder, he'll tell you he was like, Coach, he kind of has a list, but he was just, I don't want to do a terrible impression, but he was saying that he lacked strength, so he could do certain things, but he would just get bull rushed. And he would have to adjust his set because of that fear. And now he's like, I can just anchor down, and I know that I'm strong in that position. So yeah, you see those things, and it's really cool to see like all that hard work actually translate to the field, and then you get confidence. And that's the whole thing that you do in the summer. Like at the end of the day, you're building a belief system. Like you're building a belief that I can trust my training when I need it the most. And I can trust and I have belief in my work that when I need it the most, I can perform because I put the work in. And then 2, my teammate can trust me that he knows that I will be ready to execute. I can be accountable to him. And then 3 is I have an edge going in the fourth quarter, and I have an edge because I know that I worked out my opponent. And like, that's what you're just trying to drill into these guys. Like, that's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. We're doing it because you need to be able to trust your training when you need it most. And like, that's why we train with that ferocity.
When it comes to, obviously for the fans and whatnot, the positions of key interest are obviously, quarterback and pass catchers and defensive backs, this, that, and the other. But as far as what you've seen just from the involvement from, body composition, whether it be, Brendan Sorsby or just different ways that each player in the quarterback room, how do you view what they've been able to accomplish and what was a grueling, off-season workouts, and then what you have been able to see them translate to on the field as well?
They're a dream room, bro. Like they're an unbelievable room. From the first thing is that they're incredibly well connected, and Sorsby, Lichty, they're unbelievable leaders. They're unbelievable. They're both crew captains on their team. They're both in our Bearcat Council. They're both incredible people that are well followed and so well respected. So those guys work at a rate that's ridiculous, and then they're the biggest supporters, which is so rare. And so you see physiological change on both those guys. Sorsby came in at 240 something, 242, and they called him the potato because he was, and yeah. And like that's the thing, man. You tell these.
I've been called things like that too.
Well,
I wasn't like Division I quarterback, Golden Arm nominee, so it doesn't sit as good.
Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, but and that's the thing you appreciate about about those guys is you have those meeting with them and you tell them like I know you're not coming here for me. Like I had talked to Sorsby a couple times, like, but like me and like you come on your visit, like, okay, we've talked once, like, so you're not coming here for me. But the fact that you would come here for me, and I tell this to all the transfers, it's like you're trusting me to maximize you. Like you're trusting me to get you as close to your goals as possible. And for me, I hold that incredibly sacred. Like I get emotional when I say that because it's like you when you a high school kid, they don't know any better. They just come in and like, hey, college football is gonna be really hard. Hopefully you make it through. Like that's all you tell a high school kid. Like, hey, you like football? Yeah. Well, do you like hard work? Well, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out because it's gonna be really, really hard. Like I don't pull any punches. But like a college transfer, they know, and they're coming to you for something. And I always ask, well, why do you want to come here? Like, what about you coming here? What interests you? And they say, I want to be developed. Okay, well, if you're coming here and you want to be developed, we can do that. And I respect and I hold it very sacred in my heart that you're trusting me to help you maximize yourself and get you closer to your goals. And that's something I hold very sacred. So having that conversation with Sorsby and having his trust and seeing the results that he had through his hard work, and he bought in, man. Like he did a giant cannonball. He had no feel up here. He just jumped in the pool, did a cannonball. I mean, he's 227, flying around. I mean, almost running 22 miles an hour. Incredible results. And Lichty is the other way. Lichty is the guy that's always done it perfect, which is the guy that, if you're out of town for the weekend, you hand him your keys and you say, lock up the place. And he could run our group himself. Like he's such a professional. Everything he does, he's so diligent. He's so hardworking. He's so locked into what he wants to improve at. He got better on all those objectives, which I'm so proud of because, you're also hoping as a strength coach, you want the guys to achieve what they work so hard for. Like you want Lichty to get stronger in his lower body. You want him to improve his speed. You want him to feel like more powerful agility wise and be able to change directions with more authority. And you want him to feel stronger and more bold in the pocket, have more rotational power. So like he identified those things and he did it. And I'm really, really proud of him. And then you look at a guy like Samash, who just has all those traits, that's been so humble in his learning process, has learned from those guys, bought in, incredible group. And then you have Jacob Hoying, you have Will Coker, you have Daniel Stoddard, you have guys that just do an incredible job. So that room of 6 guys are really high character, biggest fans of each other. They've been incredible, man.
So you get home from camp, and all of a sudden there's this unveiling project as they do the beam ceremony for your new baby, right? The new indoor practice facility. So what are your thoughts as you're seeing the skeleton of this thing come to life?
I'm never selling out, dude. Every winter I'm going out to the nip in the snow. We're still doing it. That's what I think. But no, you can't make me sell out, dude.
No. Tear it down.
It is such a contrast, right? Like you drive and then you come around, like every week it gets close. It's getting more and more filled in. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's getting like you see the team meeting room, you see the weight room, you see all the locker room and the athletic training room. Like, holy cow, man, it's flying. So that contrast of leaving higher ground, driving up, and you turn to the right, and you're going, oh my gosh, it's just this Taj Mahal. It's massive. It's almost intimidatingly huge. It's such an impressive thing. It makes me think of how much better and more efficient and effective we're able to train the athletes with the tools we have. It challenges me to remain authentic to who we are. It challenges me to never let go of the edge of what makes Clifton and UC so tough and edgy and gritty. And it's a combination of all those things to have a new school mentality with an old school approach and constantly try to push and challenge these guys. And no matter what resources you have and the bells and whistles, to stay true to who we are and just train as hard as we possibly can.
Nico, that the new practice facility is going to be amazing, but there is one thing that will always be there, and that's Camp Higher Ground. And with Camp Higher Ground comes the cold tubs, which have always been there. But I feel like this year has been like the year of the cold tub. Yeah, you had Dan Horde doing his plunges, you had media members getting tossed in, you had everyone getting tossed in. Coach Combs had his valiant just dive in, which is very on brand for him. Just two-part question. First off, tell everyone that doesn't know what the true advantages of a cold plunge is. And then second off, who on the team could get you into the cold tub?
From a health standpoint, it reduces inflammation. It helps speed up recovery. And so especially in times where you need quick turnaround and you're going to be performing, that inflammation period is kind of detrimental to the recovery process. So you try to reduce inflammation the fast you can. It cools down core body temperatures, especially after a hot day at higher ground. I mean, the first week we were in the 100 heat index almost the whole first part of the week. So we were trying to keep core body temperature down, start the recovery process as fast as possible. And then just get them ready as quickly as possible for that next day. So that's kind of the physiological thought process behind it. I always say it's for the culture. I go, it's for the culture. It's for the culture. It's for the culture. Like, I don't care. Like, we do it in spring. We do it in spring ball. It's like 9 degrees outside. It's snowing. I'm like, mandatory cold tub, 7 minutes. Like, it is what it is for the culture. They were like, last, like, it is what it is. Like, oh, yeah. And so guys have embraced that. That's another cultural thing. Like, no, we're going to get in the cold tubs. Why? Because it's hard. And we kind of do that thing where we want to make it hard. We joke, we have this stretch where it's just like a hamstring stretch. Like you're kind of sitting back on your heels, stretching, touching your toes, but we say both hands. And the reoccurring joke is we say, why 2 hands? And then the player yells back, because it's hard. And like, that's what we want it hard. Like, some people that take the elevator, some people take the stairs. Like, we're going to take the stairs, man. Like, we're going to carry our luggage up. Like, we want it hard. Like, that's who we are. That's part of our culture. So like, it's for the culture, baby. Like, you could not get in the cold tub, or you could just make it hard. Like, and that's our edge, man. Like, that's who we're going to be. And that's kind of, we take pride in it. So like, we'll do that every day. Next time you guys are here, dynamic warm up, you hear the guys yell, like, because it's hard. Like, that's what it is. But sometimes it backfires on me. I'm like, hey guys, why do we want to do this? And some guys are like, because it's hard. I'm like, no, but yes, but no. Like, I want a straight answer. But like, kind of a cultural thing, but we take pride in it.
Well, I mean, so Ben Herbert, who's the strength coach, just follows Harbaugh around everywhere he goes recently. He's with the Chargers now. He says he does 15 minutes each time he pops in. Are you in that level of just craze and just because it's hard, you're ready to jump in for that long?
I've done my cold tub age, and I take pride in it. I've lived it. I can say with a full heart, you know what? I've done it. I've lived it. I've served my time. So you need to serve your time. It's like the rite of passage.
Let's go.
But it's funny though, because that last day breaks out, and it's a melee, man. Guys are getting tossed in. And as soon as I saw Coach Robo Williams was the first target, strength coach, and he's a hard strength coach. So I saw him get picked up over their heads.
Robo.
I said, okay, gonna go down this way. So I quickly and very subtly just took off my whistle, took off my clothes, put my phone in my shoes, and just patiently waited until it was my turn, because I wasn't gonna fight it. I was gonna take it on the chin and get my butt tossed in there. So everyone made it in, and I too paid the price and got tossed in there as well. So it was a rite of passage. Absolutely.
Let's go. Aaron?
I have questions here in the mailbag. I don't know if we're ready to do that yet. But
let me get one more quick one. Nico, obviously we talked about all the transfers, and whatnot and how they've been, but we've heard a lot of glowing reports about this true freshman class. And you mentioned a couple of tough injuries along the defensive line and whatnot. So those true freshmen will probably need to be called on for some time, possibly on that front. What have you seen outside of just great recruiting overall that kind of just separates this class? It seems like a lot of players are ready to kind of make their stamp really early in their career.
I think it's twofold. I think one is great talented guys that have incredibly high genetic potential. So you can't like, for an old offensive lineman and defensive lineman, like, you can't teach long arms, you can't teach mobility, you can't teach a strong punch. Like, those things you can do. And luckily we had a great recruiters that kind of found those hidden gems, and here we are. And you see what our offensive line and defensive line could be in the future. And it's really exciting because just to see what physically they're capable of doing. But then also you see like the value and you see the humility from the freshmen, and you show the leadership of the seniors. And I asked myself that a lot. Like, I don't think we had the leadership last year that we do this year. Would our freshman class last year be where would they be if they had that same leadership? I ask myself that all the time because, you see like a you see all these freshmen, and you see the humility in which they're being coached by their peers, and it's hard, man. Like, it's hard coaching. Like, Ben Blevins is taking Quez, one of our defensive linemen, through manual neck, and he doesn't have his hands in the right place. He's smacking him in the chest, like, no, put your hands here. And like, you smack a freshman from Memphis who's tough and big, strong kid, and you don't have a relationship with him, he might fight you back. But this guy is so trusting in Ben Blevins. You just got it. Absolutely. My fault. Like, and you have Dante Corleone driving and pushing these guys. You have the O lineman just so on the D lineman. You have great wideout leadership. You have great, incredible DB leadership and linebacker leadership. Obviously, we talked about the quarterback room, the running back room. So you see really talented group with humility and a willingness to be led, and then you see great leadership. And I think that just makes a great high potential class. Really impressive.
Love it. Love it.
I got one more too. So I know that you kind of mentioned, you alluded to a couple times how you saw both sides of the ball in camp. They got tested, and they seemed to respond really well. And I know a lot of what we've heard from you and things we've seen, the momentum going in the direction of, this team, it feels different than last year. It feels like it's a tighter group. It feels like guys they're leading well, and they're kind of taking that next step that we were kind of wondering, like, where was that last year? But the good thing about football is shit will always hit the fan. And I'm wondering, what do you think has changed with this team, and what have you implemented purposefully to kind of weather that storm of when shit does hit the fan? Because you seem to say that for like shit hitting the fan in camp, they responded well, but how do you think that's going to trend towards like in the season when you get down 2 touchdowns early? And what did you do to help this team in that side of things this offseason?
Yeah. Once again, great question. I think you never know. You never know, right? Like, you never know how guys respond. What I've seen, and I think character reveals itself in the hardest of moments. And so I think you need to train at that edge constantly, and you need to push that edge. I think one of the biggest realities of last year that you learned is, if you're not willing to make sacrifices for the well-being of the team and be a part of the team, then you have no place on it. Then you lose that role and that responsibility. I think that was a truth I learned last year, that, you can be a really talented player, and you can care about the school, and you can care about the university, and those are all great things. But if you aren't willing to make sacrifices and be a part of a team that's bigger than you, then you have no place on it. And you lose that privilege. And I think that was one of the things you learn, is that, like, I don't think there's one person on the team that thinks they're bigger than the well-being of the team. I can honestly say that. And I think guys have fought really hard to protect that. And guys have made hard calls. Like, a lot of guys that aren't on this team anymore, players were the one that initiated it. Players were the ones that said, he doesn't deserve a place on this team. He doesn't believe in what we're trying to work for. And so I think when you reveal that you are willing to make sacrifices for the well-being of the group, and you will do everything in your power as coaches, as leaders, to protect that group and to empower that group. I think one is you create something that's hard fought for, and that's worth something, that's worth fighting for, that's worth buying into. 2, I think, is, okay, once you have that group of people that have made it through, that believe in that the team's bigger than the sum of its parts, I think then is you test it. And it's a constant thing. Like I think conflict's a really good thing if conflict yields growth. I think people try to shy away from conflict. People try to have like really cute summers and like, how's everything going? Oh, it's going great. Everything's awesome. We have no injuries. Everything's good and everything's great. And there's no like, that's not the point of the summer. Like you're going to have injuries. So might as well challenge them now. Like obviously safe and progressive, but like from a soft tissue standpoint, like if I'm not sprinting fast, and I'm not competing and I'm not racing and I'm not doing combative things, and like, am I going to prepare them for the demands of their sport, which is all those things? If I'm not putting them in conflicting situations, if they're not fighting each other, like sometimes we just do drills until they start fighting each other. Like it is what it is. Like why? Because like I want to take it to that point. I want guys to swing at each other. Like I don't want them to land, but like I want guys to care that much. And then what? You like that's leadership 101. You teach conflict resolution. You teach how to communicate. You teach that, you know what, conflict is a good thing, but if conflict pulls away from the goals of the group because you're a distraction to the group, that's counterintuitive. That's destroying the well-being of the group, and we will lose games that way. And we had those conversations. We were completely transparent. We have a saying in our program, it's complete program alignment and complete transparency. Like we're all fighting for the same fight, and we are ridiculously transparent. And if you're transparent, there's nowhere to hide. So everyone knows what everyone's doing. And it's my job to make sure that it's done in a productive and safe and whatever way. But like at the end of the day, man, like you have to make it so it's combative and it's transparent, and you make guys know that they're fighting for the right things and that everyone's going in the right direction. And that's kind of the whole thought process behind it. And hopefully we win games because of it, because these guys have worked so freaking hard, man. The guys worked so hard and they deserve it, man. They've worked their tails off.
What did your guy Coach D used to say? Football is a game played at, is it a controlled rage? Is that the quote?
Controlled rage.
I think that's Folino would always talk about that. But it just reminded me. I'm sure that goes into part of your teachings, because you want your guys, it sounded like you push your guys to that controlled rage limit where they're kind of like right on that edge, because that's the way football has to be played. But it kind of seemed like last year, guys were kind of losing their minds, like, on the field, off the field. And what do you think? What do you think the difference is this year? Do you think it's the leadership you talked about? That's kind of, it seems to be like guys are like really intense, like the stories you tell, it's guys are really intense. They're really accountable. They're right on that edge. They're running down, kicking the guy's door down to drag him over there. And they're kind of right on that edge of wanting to like go at him right in front of the whole team. What do you think has been that leadership, that accountability? How do you think they've kind of transitioned from losing their mind to kind of keeping it as controlled as it needs to be?
Well, one is a humility to be taught and a humility to be led, and then a willingness to lead. Because leading is really hard. Like leading is so hard. And I think that's like the misconception. Is like everyone wants to be a leader. Everyone wants to be voted captain, but no one actually wants the responsibility of having to lead. And I think that was one of the things, is like they've actually learned to lead, and then they learned how hard it is to lead. And that's like the best thing ever, is like everyone gets voted like the unity council, and everyone's like, wait, I can't get this guy to do what I want. How do I do it? Like, when do I give up on him? It's like, you've tried twice and you're going to give up on him. Like, imagine if I give up on you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that fun, like, oh shit, now I have perspective. Like, now I see how hard it is and how patient I have to be. But like, that's the thing of leadership, is like, you just keep grinding and keep grinding. So one is, what's the difference? I think another great coach, Antonio, saying is, you win with your seniors, you win with your leadership. And one of the things I learned at Michigan State was like the team's success was directly tied with how good the leadership was. So if a team had a bad year, then you blame the leaders. Like you said, you guys let us down. You weren't great leaders. And like, that's a mark that like carried a lot of weight. So when you're a freshman and you heard like him talk about a group and said like that was a bad group, and you're like, oh snap, like what's the legacy we're going to leave? And so I think that's like what our guys are, is there's a difference between playing with an edge and playing hard, and then playing undisciplined and playing reckless. And I think that was the line that was, and like there's a selfishness to that. Like there's a selfishness to make a play or cause a penalty that ruins the well-being of the group. And so I think learning like, hey man, we play with an edge, but we play together. We play with a chip on our shoulder, but we play as one. We play with a chip on our shoulder, but we encourage each other. And I think that's the secret sauce. And we're learning that continuously. We're not there yet, but we're continuing to learn it. And our coaches have done a great job supporting that and driving that message and holding their position groups accountable. And it's been an organic, really fun thing.
I kind of noticed it's kind of like an unspoken about thing, but I'm inclined to believe that you have kind of like a rift between the old guys, like the old staff guys, new staff guys, the transfers, all coming into a new staff, all coming at you right at the same time. And you kind of have this like division with guys like not really knowing like, oh, this is a new staff, they're doing it this way. And these new guys, they don't know what it takes. They don't know what we're about, blah, blah, blah. And then it seems like it's taken like the transition that you've made this off season. It seems like you couldn't have done it a better way from our perspective. I'm sure kind of all the things the guys did and how they've kind of come closer together, but how difficult was that for you to kind of like address that unspoken thing of, hey, there's this old staff that took these guys to the college football playoff, but that's not here anymore. This is like these are my guys. This is what I want to do. But I also kind of want to like recognize the success that was had based on like what that was, but also kind of push out like that like kind of cancerous vibe that was still being left behind with the old guys and how they wanted to do things. And I don't know. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, how did you transition that bridge this year to get it to where it is now? Because it seems like you got it rolling really well right now.
Thank you. I think the biggest thing was like identifying where we fell short last year. And I think there's three factors. Number one is, I think it's one is the part that you mentioned, right? Like the change. There's three, in my opinion, there's three. One is, and it's the unspoken one, but it's going from American to the Big 12. Like the level of competition elevated and the level of expectation elevated. And whether or not everyone in the program realized it elevated. And I don't think anybody from a player to the coaching standpoint understood how competitive and how demanding it was. That's one, in my opinion. Two, I think the coaching staff was very different than what was previously experienced. And I was kind of in the middle because I had never worked with Coach Fickell, but I'd worked with Urban Meyer and I had worked with that Ohio State staff and I'd worked with Coach Meyer assistants at Mississippi State and at University of Maryland. So I kind of knew what the expectation was. I understood what coaches took with them, and then listening to the players and how the program was ran, I understood it, and it felt very familiar to me. But also, you have to be respectful of Coach Satterfield and how he coaches, and he's very authentic to who he is, and he's very different than what the prior expectation was. So there was this very different of culture and the very difference of coaching approach. So that was number two. And I think number three was kind of to your point, like what was accomplished at UC has to be addressed and has to be incredibly respected because that was an unbelievable era of success. But also, I think what goes underappreciated and undervalued, and if you really study it, is the amount of work and sacrifice that the players on those teams went through to achieve that success. And a lot of the players that we had at that time got to reap the benefit of that winning success without understanding and really comprehending who did it and B, the amount of work that was put in to accomplish that. And I think that was the misconception. I think the misconception was like, we're the Bearcats, we just roll in and we win in the nip and we do all these things. Well, it's like, yes, but that wasn't always the case. And the amount of work and the amount of hardship that went into that era of excellence and the leadership on those teams was elite. The character in those guys, and I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of those guys. I get to meet you. I get to meet all these, like, those are high character people that care about the university, that work their butts off. And so not appreciating that sacrifice and that work and just being the recipient of that success, I think also confused a lot of people. And I think there was a misconception of like, no, like, yes, you win at UC, but you won at UC because of so much sacrifice and work and blood, sweat, and tears. And so I think you put all those things in and you get the results that we got last year. And I think everyone's to blame. And I think the first thing is you understand why we lost. And I think that's a really hard pill to swallow. But the only way you're going to swallow is by truth and transparency and self-examination and saying, we let everybody down. Most of all, we let ourselves down. Like, this wasn't what anyone expected. And this isn't what anyone hopes for and wishes for. And we let our fan base down. We let our school down. We let ourselves down. And so what do you do from there? And I think you redefine what it means to be a Bearcat. I think you redefine of you take that same mentality of what built the Bearcats up, which is that work and that grind and that mentality, and you make that the standard, and you draw that line, man, and you say, hey, this is who we're going to be. We want everyone here to be a part of it. But if you're unwilling to do what we're going to say that needs to be done, that we now see needs to be done, because we all try to do it in this way, this way of now my way's better, or that way's better, or this way's better, or we're going to win because of this and that. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not. So unless we understand that this is what the standard is, and unless we're willing to follow that standard, then we're not going to have success. And I think we found the right group of guys that believed in that, both from the teams both from guys that had been a part of Coach Fickle and Coach Sat, and then vice versa. New transfers, freshmen. It's a really organic group, and there wasn't the ego and the defensiveness. It was kind of this organic thing of, we understand what it means to be a Bearcat, what the school represents, and we're going to stand that and defend that and work for that and hold everyone to that standard.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't want to give you excuses. I know you don't like those, but it's like you're dealing with guys that you're like, all right, these guys were here, they were part of the winning. Like, we should rely on them. We should expect them to be like holding themselves to that standard. And there's plenty of guys that, like, I know and I love them. I love playing with them, but there was a lot of guys left around that they weren't ever leaders. They were guys who were being led. They were kind of being corralled into, like, stay in the course, stay in the mindset, stay in discipline. Like, hey, come on. No, we don't do that. We do this, like, just to keep it short and sweet. And then you have them left back around. And they're like, all right, we need you guys to be leaders. We need you guys to help this transition from old staff to new. And it's just kind of like ironic. Like, well, everyone you expected to be kind of like make this smooth, they kind of made that riff even more. But I know we don't want to get too caught up back in last year. We got a lot going on this year, but just I think history like always tends to repeat itself. And you guys are just giving me the vibe of like how when we were the team I was on going into my second year, where like it was just a shitty year the year before, but you kind of stripped it all down and you just build it back up, something new, something unique, something that's your own. And I think that starts with you and the strength staff in the off season. I think you guys have done a great job. Because no one really, like when I was back then, it was 2018, like no one really knew about it. No one could really tell, but like the players could. But I think you guys are taking it to another level because it's something that, just talking with you here or just seeing it, there's just a vibe. There's a different vibe. And I'm not saying like, oh, I expect the Bearcats to go freaking 12-0 now, but there's just something, whatever you got those guys doing this offseason, I really think it's propelling them through camp, and you can just feel something different going on, and the team's really clicking in all the right spots. So shout out to you, man. I'm so excited for the season, and I just know that the work you did with the guys it's going to make us proud and get us some more wins than last year. But I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm really proud to be a Bearcat right now. It was a tough year last year, but it's some excitement, man. It's credit to you and the guys. So
you're getting me all gassed. You're gonna make me cry, dude. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. Give me all emotional, sort of sweat.
It's real though. It's we talk about it all the time. Like we're like, all right, like we're not gonna win 3 freaking games this year. Like you could just tell that that's not happening. But we know shit's gonna hit the fan some point this year. But I think the guys are in a way better spot. Big testament to you, and I'm really excited for it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for the support and the kind words, man.
Yeah. Sorry to go on my stool there for a second, but I just think it needs to be said.
We need you on the stool, Royer. Come on now. That's where you need to be. Well, Nico, you told us only an hour. We've gone over. There were some mailbag questions, but we don't want to hold you any longer. So, my man, you've got me jazzed up for the season, and I tell you what, there's no greater time than having you on and just hearing about the progress, and because obviously we see it, and we get the practice reports and on hand, but when you peel that curtain back and you hear genuinely how real it is. So of course, thanks for coming on, dude, and we are beyond excited for what this season has in tow. So Nico, you're the man.
I love you guys, man. I appreciate you very much. Thank you once again, Aaron. It's always a pleasure, dude. I'm never gonna not say it. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Roy. I appreciate you guys, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nico.
See you, man.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you. I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Best of luck, coach. That's it.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Nico, what a man. Aaron, I was glancing at the questions in the mailbag for Nico. We can ask those later because like after the season, we can ask him about the NFL Combine and things like that, and we can ask him those other kind of questions about that we aren't going to ask for a too deep prediction. So
no,
I
don't even have that one in the mailbag, but there were two other ones. But in any case, no worries.
We'll dump those on Nico post after the season when we have we've got about 10 Bearcats that really shine bright during this successful season that should be getting some invites to the Combine. What exactly do you look for when it comes to that? So, man, he's the man. He is the absolute man. And Rory, the way that you were putting it too is just like, gosh, just the countless hours that you have. Yes, there's game prep, there's install, there's trying to come together on the field type of thing. But I feel like you mentioned it, and we've heard it through countless people. We heard it through Brady when we used to have Brady on too. It's just it all seems to become organically built through the off season, especially in the weight room and on the field through workouts. So no better person to be leading that than Nico. Aaron, do you have the timestamp read ready? Because before we do that, because I'm gonna give one more shout out real quick, because Nico was on tonight. So we do have to mention Danco Joe again real fast. We gotta let him know about the to celebrate the first Bearcat football game on August 31st. Tell him Nico sent you. Get an oil change for $31. That's right. Bearcats roar. Season is here. Nico's voice is loud and clear. It was tonight as well. Great mic that Nico's got. Great pipes. Pause. For $31, an oil change is yours. Just mention Nico, and then you'll score. See Danco Joe for details. Go danco.com. Deal ends September 1st. So had to give that shout out. But Aaron, you want to hit us with the timestamp?
Timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply. Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all of your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all of your janitorial needs. Call Nick at 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Bang. Love that. We do have to riff real fast. Royer, obviously no Chad here. So Aaron did go to the scrimmage last not on Friday, but the week before. So if you have any team direct questions, we can try our hardest, but Chad isn't here. So let's riff real fast. And
are you opening the door to the fun questions?
I'm opening
back
the door
to a couple
wide
weeks.
freaking open, man. Hey, you got the week 0 college football, man. Let's have some wild time. I mean, do you see the slate for the college football season? This weekend is college football is back, but it's like Ireland and then 3 weird teams after that. So
what's the 1 week that everyone's freaking out about again? It's like the week of the year.
Oh, that it might be not week 1, but week 2.
It's like when there's like the games are like unbelievable. People are saying it's like the greatest slate ever. I can't remember which one it was.
Well, I mean, once you hit those conference games, it's going to be pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, I know.
Yeah, the October 12th, Jeremy just said. That's what it is.
Oh, it was October 12th. Yeah, well,
that's what it was.
We can lock that in, but real quick. Well, and that's the Bearcats at UCF. That's a big one. That is a big one. Yeah, that's Ohio State, Oregon, Ole Miss, LSU, Penn State, USC. Yeah.
Brent, how much bones are you going to put on the line that weekend?
Too many.
You could be rich, or you could be Miami, Brent. Which one are you going to be?
Oh, maybe. It's going to be non-Miami. It's going to be Miami this year, Miami. How about that? I mean, some of these little preseason top 100 rankings have the old Miami boys ranked higher than the Bearcats yet again.
They'll be solid.
A little bulletin board material for the Cats. But Aaron, you got a new referee real fast?
I don't have that one.
Okay.
New riff. Something.
Check out the Aquafire room.
Aquafire. 10% off tour.
Yes. A new riff.
Uniquely something and innovative. I can't remember what it is.
Uniquely. Gosh, we should have had that sent to us. This would be the perfect time for Chad to just storm in on the drive home and
swoop in
and just blast the readout for us. Well,
have the bottle in his hand while driving.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't go full Huggins mode, and
it would be a fresh bottle that. Oh wow, Chad! About a third of that's gone. Whoa, Chad! It's all the way gone. What? You got the read again for us? What is Daddy Ron? What's good from Zona? Okay, but no. New riff. I can speak from experience. It's fantastic. It's very tasty. We do have. I mean, there's plenty of tours available, and different selections, and get all you want from New Riff. Shouts to them, and Chad will come strong with the next read with New Riff whenever that time comes. But without further ado, we do have the Riffing with Royer segment, just real quick, and then we got the mailbag. But without the fearless leader, we're gonna keep things piling through.
All right. So first question is, what are you guys taking for rushing yards per game this year with the whole line coming back? We got Kiner back. I'm setting the line at 178.5 yards per game.
Oh, got to go higher than that.
You think?
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. I mean, am I right, you think, Aaron?
I just knew whatever he could have said 248 yards, and you would have said you need to go higher than
what
that.
Weren't we like 210 last year?
Last year was 217.08.
Well, my thing is you don't think we're going to be throwing the ball a little bit better this year?
It's a good point, but the stat about SAT that everyone's talking about, I think it's what? Well, I don't know if last year, obviously the run of, let me see here, the run of teams that they averaged 209 through the air a game. I want to think how many years in a row, Aaron. I think it's 6 years in a row, maybe that a Coach Satterfield led to. Oh,
whoa!
We're 1-0, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Can you just stop? Everyone, just stop what they're doing, and can you give us the new riff read? It was so bad. Whatever we did was so bad.
What do you mean? We said it was very good. It was
we tried.
Unabashedly delicious,
unique,
unequivocally extreme in the Aquafire room.
Yeah, 10% off. We just
fiercely independent and unabashedly innovative. New Riff produces award-winning bourbon, rye whiskey, and gin at their distillery in Newport, Kentucky. The Aquafire Tasting Room, located on the third floor of the distillery, features cocktails, flights and pours of New Riff's entire line of spirits, including rare, limited edition, and distillery exclusive releases. Bearcat Journal listeners can save 50% on distillery tours when you use the code Bearcats24. For more information or to book a tour, visit newriffdistilling.com.
There it is. Thank you for that. 50%, not 10%. As there's a correction there.
Dang, we messed up everything.
You know what? It wasn't too bad. I mean, we mentioned it was so good.
Brent said there's lots of tours.
Well, yeah.
Beast.
Make it happen.
Nailed it.
First question. Well, Chad, Nico was a legend, as you can well guess.
I had you guys on in the car. I listened.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chad? Over under 178 rushing yards a game?
Over.
I think it's over.
What if I
Scott Satterfield teams have averaged 200-yard rushing
6 years
for
in a row,
5
right?
seasons.
5 years.
6
There's
seasons
a
in a row.
stat.
My thought was we'd be throwing the ball a little bit more with our arm talent.
But they're still going to run for 200 yards.
Okay.
I also think that we have guys on Ryan. I think there's guys on this team that can actually break away, including that was one of the things that Corey Kiner said he worked on this offseason was his speed. I hope it's not because I called him out in a presser, but
it's not.
He was thinking about you every night.
Yeah. He plays that clip after the Pittsburgh game every single night before he goes to sleep.
Where I asked him why he got caught.
Yeah. Great game today.
You're on his mind.
You were the player of the game, but what can you do to change getting caught from behind so much?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pause.
Sheesh.
What's good, Natty Ron?
But yeah, Chad, definitely over. Yeah, as Aaron's saying, you got a Chance Williams now that can also break away. You've got a couple other guys where it just seems like I mean Manny Covey's making a stance for what he's going to try and do as well. But I think overall, throwing Sorsby, I think that Emery showed obviously some athleticism in the backfield, but I think that Sorsby is going to have the better ability to finish runs and kind of gain a little additional yardage that Emery just seemed to not be able to really pick up at times. So I think definitely over 200. If you put the line at 200, I'm taking the over yet again, especially with all the O-line back and with Phil Wilder just kind of being like the additional guy.
The other thing, Ryan, is I've said this a couple times on other things this week, but I think it's important to remember Brendan Sorsby is going to be an upgraded quarterback, but Brendan Sorsby has started 7 collegiate games. There is still, the arc is still going up for Sorsby. He is not anywhere near a finished product, and I don't think you're going to lean this passing game on, or this offense on him and say, go throw for 300 yards. They're not ready for that yet. I just don't think.
Fair.
I think there's a progression to it where in a year or two, maybe he's ready for that. But Scott Satterfield teams run the ball, and they run the ball a lot. And it has been the foundation of his offense. So I don't think that's going to change, even though I think Sorsby is going to be an upgrade. I think this is going to be a situation where the running game will unlock, their ability to be efficient and productive in the passing game. But this is not going to be Cincinnati throws the football, 35 times a game. So, there are yards that I think yards through the air they left on the table, but they were still they were dropping back to pass. They just weren't converting those plays. And you look at all the drives that stalled out, all the troubles in the end zone or in the red zone. Those are yards they're going to be able to convert at a higher clip this year, which is going to up the opportunity for the yards to go up. But they are going to run the ball. And you could see it in the second scrimmage Friday, how much more productive the offense was when they had Corey Kiner in the backfield, when they had Chance Williams in the backfield. And then when they took those guys out, because you didn't want to put a lot of mileage on them, the defense went up and the offense went down. So that to me is we're going to see a better passing game, but this is not going to be air raid 2012. 200, 250 yards passing to complement 185, 200 yards rushing. And then you're in that sweet spot where you're at about 400 yards offense, and that's where the points should come in. So
I just simple-minded it.
Yeah, no, but if it's under 178, I think that means they're getting away from what should work, what they know works. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like the running game works, stick with it, kind of deal.
Nice. You guys ready for question 2? It's a bit more on the fun side.
Let's go. Yes.
How far? All right, so you put a Natty Light can on your head. How far back?
Since he like can.
Brendan, that's what I meant. Sorry, since brain fart. How far back will you go confidently letting Brendan Sorsby throw to knock the beer can off your head?
I'm not letting anybody throw a football at my face.
Not even 10 yards.
What is this, like Sir Isaac Newton? Is that who did this with the bow and arrow?
Bow and arrow with an apple.
Yeah. Let's see here. You know what? For the content, let's go 40 yards for the content.
No way. You were gonna get hit either in the onions or just right in the nose. I don't know which one.
Double order. But no, on the real, what you think 15 yards, 10 yards?
15,
I think
you should be able to hit from 20. I think 20 would be reasonable. But I've seen him throw at that. Right. That's what I'm saying, Natty Ron. I'm not letting anybody throw a football at my face.
How about we just wear a helmet? Just wear a helmet and just have them try and hit us in that.
Just beam it. Just get it stuck in the face mask.
It could be nice. Yeah.
With Lichtenberg being dubbed the Jugs Machine, is he maybe a tad more accurate?
Maybe.
Yeah.
A Samaj flamethrower might not.
No go.
No, sir. That's coming too fast. Nope. No, sir.
I'll pass on that for right now.
Yeah. I don't want an Aroldis Chapman flame coming out of my face.
Exactly.
See that dude threw 105 the other night? He's throwing 105 now.
He hit 105. He's like 31, 32 now.
Yeah, what year is it now for him? He's been in there a while.
Well, I mean, it was like, 2010? I think he started here, 2011. So 13 years, something like that.
Yeah.
You talking about that Little League World Series guy?
No. Aroldis Chapman.
What do you see what the Little League World Series guy's hitting?
Yeah.
MLB equivalent was like 117 miles per hour. Keep an eye out for him. I think he's on Venezuela's team.
Beast.
Give us one more fun one.
One more fun one?
Oh, yeah.
That was my one fun one. Hold on. Give me a second.
I'll ask you one, Ryan.
Uh-oh.
What?
So I was told that Jake Golday jumped out of a pool, landed on the thing with 1 foot, and then jumped back into the pool. Can you jump out of a pool without your hands? I mean, just like a standard, like you're in the pool, and he jumped out of it.
And he landed on 1 foot.
Landed on 1 foot and then jumped back in.
Like he stuck the landing fine. 1 foot is nuts. Yeah, I can't do 1 foot. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I tried that. I might have been able to on like a narrow one.
Tristan Wirfs was the guy that made that famous a few years ago.
I guarantee you I can't do the height he did it at. Let's just make it nice and easy for you to understand.
He is a freak, Royer.
That's what I hear.
I wanted to ask Nico, I mean, we could have had Nico on for 5 hours just asking about
what spot does he play?
Player.
Mike.
What Mike? Okay.
I was just hoping that you were going to say that he backflipped off that 1 foot.
That would have been. Yeah, no, I don't think
1 foot. Doing any form of jumping, landing, starting on 1 foot it just makes it way harder. Like that.
So Royer, when it comes to players like Jake Golday, who his second sport was basketball, how do you think, with two-sport athletes, and obviously Luke loved two-sport athletes. I think all coaches love two-sport athletes, but as far as when it comes to translation from like basketball players to football full-time, or, wrestling to football full-time, where do you see kind of that basketball translate to a player like Golde, who's going to be just a stud at the second level?
Well, like wrestling would go really well in the trenches, or
right.
maybe it's some linebacker play too, in terms of tackling or just block to feed and leverage and stuff like that. But I think basketball, like, as long as you don't have the toughness of an AAU basketball player, I think it translates really well into football. Just jumping, explosiveness, side to side explosion, and like it's great. I mean, you can tell he must have been a really good basketball player. If you're able to kind of jump and land on one foot, take off at one foot, obviously you do that a lot in basketball. But I think having a guy that can go out there and like not just be like a set picks and rebound type of basketball player,
right.
football basketball guy, I'm guessing he wasn't one of those. That was me, believe it or not. But it definitely complements your football overall athleticism really well. So, I mean, you're using the word freak for him. So I'm guessing that, he was a very solid basketball player, and it definitely translated well to his football game.
Love it.
Or track's really good for like the skill guys, or then you have like, I remember Ethan Tuckey ran track. He was really good. He played DN for us. Mm-hmm. He was more of a linebacker type of guy, but that obviously, if you run track and you're good at it, it's going to do well for you in football. Because if you're fast at any position, really, it's a good thing. So, what was I going to say before that? Oh, is he the starter, Chad?
I don't know that there's necessarily going to be a starter distinction between him and Bartlett. They're going to be kind of 1A, 1B. Would I be shocked if he was out there the first series of Townsend? No. But would it shock me if Bartlett was out there either? No. They're both going to play that role. Yeah, where you've got two guys that, they're going to use those guys to be that fourth guy getting after the quarterback.
Okay, so similar to Mike, how we kind of ran it with like Joel and Beavers would switch around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A quick Chad, you were tagged in this tweet, but from our 247 Sports Network, Matt Zenitz just tweeted that Cincinnati is expected to name Brendan Sorsby its starting quarterback. Sources tell 247 Sports, CBS Sports. So, wanted to put that out there. Because obviously it's going to be something. But there you go. And you heard Nico talk glowingly about him, and Chad has been pumping the positive sides of things.
Look, I think he had, especially towards the end of camp, he was at his best the last 4 or 5 days of camp. Like, that's a guy that is trending into. And look, Lichty has had a good camp. Like, it is not a matter of like, Lichty played poorly and Sorsby played really well. Mm-hmm. I just thought consistently every day, especially towards the end, Sorsby had the edge, and that's going to carry a lot of influence. So it always felt like Sorsby was the leader, even though they wouldn't say it coming into camp, and he didn't do anything to not be the leader. There weren't any of those days where it was like, right. So not a great surprise.
Right. Yeah, I just figured I'd say, because I got the tweet notifications on for him along with many other people, so I figured might as well just announce what was expected. But Sorsby leads the Bearcats out of the field in 10 short days, if my counting is correct, and maybe 11. Royer, you got one more? Or we gonna close down the old riff? There we go.
I can't think of anything worthwhile.
We're gonna shut down the riffing right now, and before we do the timestamp, I did want to mention is a pretty exciting time coming up as well for the basketball side of things, as I mentioned, what is all going to be taking place for the tip-off dinner. We got MC Marty Brenneman, and of course Roy Williams will be there as well, former head coach of West Miller. So it should be some excitement brewing as basketball season comes along as well. So I guess we can timestamp, and Aaron, we got that mailbag already. Chad is here in the fold, so we're going to be able to dive into all these.
All right, Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
All right. Getting into the mailbag here. Starting off in the football portion, as we always do. Who is the first player or former player who comes back to become the head coach of the Bearcats, in your opinion?
It's a tough one, because there's a bunch of guys kind of in that space now.
Yeah.
I mean, Gino's going to be working with some big time talent at Notre Dame, the way that they've been recruiting up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Walt still has a reasonable chance.
Yep.
If the next step is defensive coordinator, and then from defensive coordinator from there, head coach.
Does Mickens take the next step?
Yeah, I mean, it's time for him, you would think, to make the jump up to a DC level job. I mean, what they have done, like, I don't know if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you won't know this, but when they got there, that cornerback room was a disaster. Like a disaster. And I think I've seen where they've got two of the best cornerbacks like in the country. They're expected to have they were the number 7 defense in the country last year and returned almost everybody. Yep. So that's not just a thing that Mickens did while he was here. He's gone to Notre Dame and carried it over there. You would think, that's the next step in line for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple names
Gino.
out there.
Yeah.
Gino's got to be the closest.
He's got to get back up to offensive coordinator. Right now, he's just not just a quarterback coach, but right now he doesn't have that coordinator title, which, I think is, I would say those are kind of the main guys. Who's the guy at Pitt? Manilak? Is Manilak at Pitt? Manilak's coaching somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ryan Manilak, yeah. I think he is it. Is it? Here, I actually follow him on Twitter.
He was at Pitt.
He was at Pitt.
Yeah.
He's still there. Linebackers coach.
Yeah.
And he's had quite a, I mean, they've had a good run of linebackers there. So I would say Gino's probably the leader, but there's a lot of other guys that, nipping at his heels.
Maybe just tell
Armand.
Travis right when he graduates, come on back and bring in that Taylor Swift NIL money and just see what happens. Go from there.
Fair to ask if Gino would be quick to come back here to head coach, if just kind of looking back at the way things went when he was here as OC. Okay.
Yes. He's going to turn down being a head coach at Cincinnati because his feelings were hurt. That seems like a bad business decision. A significant raise.
I mean, pass on that extra money.
A couple extra $1 million here. He's got a bunch of kids.
Even though he's not the OC, I guarantee you he has a lot of say in the.
He's like passing game coordinators. Like
that's what it was like when he was here.
I'm interested to see it. Well, I mean, obviously Jason is really, really good at everything on air. I feel like Jason would be a really good coach too if he wanted to dedicate. Right? No, I agree. I'm just saying he would be an awesome coach.
Yeah,
but
you talk about a guy, the team, like players would run through a fucking brick wall for.
Right. Yeah. It's
Jeff
like
Chase would
pregame
get up there and
speech.
give you a pregame motivational speech.
Right. Exactly.
Come on.
I can see Dez being a good coach down the line.
Yeah, I can see Dez being a good coach. He might get to do it sooner than we had hoped.
Yeah, what's Clayton Tune getting all these reps at?
And they're talking about he might get cut. He might not make the team.
Well, he could take Zach Wilson's job in a New York second. Come on, man.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Emory Jones having the pass of the weekend for the Ravens.
For the Ravens.
It was a bounce back game for Emory Jones. Not a great debut last week.
What was it? One play, strip sack, leading to a game-winning field goal. Yeah, but hey, he bounced back. There we go.
Thoughts on playing a week 0 game? Is it an advantage to get an early start and have an extra bye during the season, or is the usual schedule preferable? I think I would take the week 0 game. I think anything you can do to boost your brand recognition.
If it's in Ireland, sure. But if not, I think it's
it's got to be something guaranteed to be big. Like doing an FCS game in week 0, or like I don't think it changes anything, and it also makes your season an extra week, longer.
Yeah. You need that bye week during the year, man. It really does do wonders.
Well, it technically gives you an extra bye week because you're playing before the season starts.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I would need it. I would want it to, if it was like something marquee where you're going to get like network TV, like you're going to get a big spot, then I would jump at it. But just a random run of the mill, like, open your game against a MAC team or something along those lines, I don't think I would do it. Plus it would change higher ground. Mm-hmm. Like it would mess with the dynamic of the calendar for that, because you'd get to start practice a week earlier. Would it be available a week earlier? Like it could mess up kind of some of the logistics of camp. So for that reason, I would say, it doesn't really move the needle. Randy, this would be before Labor Day. This would be like this coming weekend, not Labor Day weekend. Week 0 is this coming weekend.
Like SMU travels to Nevada, and they're huge favorites. So don't get me wrong, but imagine if SMU stumbles and loses. Like the whole country's like, "Whoa, SMU sucks. ACC terrible." But I don't see too much of a gain from having a week 0, unless, like Chad said, it's a highlight headline game.
I don't think SMU beating Las Vegas is going to change people from saying SMU sucks. But
hey, some people think they're a dark horse in the ACC.
Anyway, when camp is over, do the coaches meet one-on-one with the players to review what they envision their role is for the coming season and beyond?
We didn't really do that. I don't know what they're doing now.
No, I don't think so. Like camp is over, it's time to go. Yeah. Like there's no time for sitting in an office and it's
coaches know what they want, and they're like, this is what the guys can figure it out, and we're gonna go march forward and get ready to win game 1.
Guys should know where they're at in the pecking order by now.
Yeah, exactly. There's no surprises really. And normally the way they do it now is like if you got 2 guys that are both solid, it's not like one guy's like not going to play. They rotate so much now all across college football. It's not like you have like guys that are a 2, they just only play if someone gets hurt. No, they're playing damn near half the game now.
I'm sure there might be some cases though where like a coach needs to talk to a player and be like, hey, listen, we're going to use you in a lot of special scenarios.
Sure, but they're not sitting down with all 100 guys.
Oh no way. I'm saying just like a handful, maybe, but I'm sure like probably those positional meetings, and stuff like that, like it's probably all ironed out through just knowledge.
There's by this point, you've gone through spring ball, you've gone through summer workouts, you've gone through camp.
Yeah.
If you don't know where you stand, you're not paying attention, or you've got your head in the sand.
Right. Exactly.
Joe Royer was the MVP of camp. Was this a pleasant surprise or expected when he committed back in the winter?
Certainly not expected when he committed back in the winter. Hell, Dave didn't want him here or Tennessee. It was like UC or Tennessee. And Dave was like, I don't get it with this guy. And a lot of that because of the injuries. He never really had a chance to get off the ground at Ohio State. And he went through obviously something extremely traumatic, losing his mom at a young age. And that was kind of his rock. And, mentally, I think he took a little while to work it out. And, it's not an easy experience, as you know, Aaron, as I know, like, it can mess you up pretty good. And I think we expected him to be serviceable, like starter quality, Big 12 starter quality tight end. And the reality is that's probably like where water finds its level as this thing really gets going. But man, he was unstoppable when he was on the field. Like the ball went his way. He was going to make a play for every day for 2.5 weeks. So he was the MVP at camp. I don't think it was particularly close. Pleasant surprise, I think, is a fair assessment of the situation.
All right. Are the new seats right by the field in the northwest corner of the stadium premium seating or ADA seating?
I don't. We're going to have DeFino on next Wednesday to go through some of that stuff. I know they are calling some of those like loge seating, which is premium seating down there. But I know there's also a portion of it that had to be ADA compliant, which is why they started doing some of that work down there anyway. So I don't know that, like, I think it might be a combination of both, but that's something we'll ask DeFino next Wednesday when he joins us to kind of get us ready for the season.
Fancy seats.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Over under of 5.0 for the number of games the offense will eclipse 475 total yards.
I'll go over. Hopefully
Ryan's
they can convert those into touchdowns.
Yeah, Ryan's got us at 6-0, so let's go. Ride that over.
Wait, when did you lock me in on that shit? I said there's a chance.
You've been talking about it for weeks.
I'm saying there's a chance. I'm not saying it's over 50%, but I think it's hovering around 45%. But I'm gonna go with I don't know, man. I'll take the over too. I think they'll hit it 6 times.
So last year, you guys want to take a stab at how many games they did over 475?
2.
4.
Wow, Chad, you're on it, man. 4 right on the dot.
Beast.
The Eastern Kentucky game, Miami Ohio game, at BYU and UCF. I'm taking over 5. Yeah.
I was gonna say if they did that 4 times last year with the offense they had last year compared to this year, lock it in.
Yeah, and then 2 other games of 440 or higher. So, yeah.
Was Baylor one of those?
Yeah, Baylor was 450, and at OK State was 442.
I would have bet Baylor was over, but they should have won that game.
And then just that end of the year slide. I just don't see that being the scenario this year. You sure hope not. So, yeah, I'm liking it over.
The end of the year schedule is
right. What I meant just more so where it's just like, yeah, I agree though.
Tough question to answer in August, but who do you think gets drafted in April of 2025?
No idea.
Dante Corleone, Luke Kandra, Mason. Wow, there's usually one punter a year that gets drafted. I mean, it's
D'Artagnan.
He'd have to win the Ray Guy award.
Yeah, I think DT gets drafted for sure. I think Royer has a
Luke
pretty good,
Kandra.
tight end. I already Kandra, Corleone, DT. I think Royer, because tight end has become such a premium position, if he has a really good year, I think he could get drafted. Here's the thing I know. There were not many NFL scouts that came around last year. Like there wasn't. And there was 3, 4, 5 of them every day at Higher Ground. That tells me there's a lot more draftable options than we've had in since the year before.
There's somewhere around 6 or 8 at the scrimmage. So
I mean it was minimum 3, 4 at every practice. So I would say I'll go 5 guys. I think.
Yeah, and then you got a lot of fringe guys too. I mean, like, what do you say?
Yeah,
Xavier Henderson.
X could definitely work his way up into that if he has a good year for sure.
Right. If Kiner, has shown some additional, added to his game and has another 1,000-yard plus season, maybe Gavin Gerhardt if the offensive line is, Joe Moore good level.
I've heard rumors he's got an extra year somehow.
Huh.
I'll take it.
Hey, yeah. Well, yeah, maybe the COVID year.
I don't have that confirmed, but I've heard a rumor or two that he might have an extra year.
We take positive rumors any way we can take them, Chad. So keep that spinning. But yeah,
it would be nice to not have to replace all 5 starting offensive linemen.
You ain't lying. And the last question in the football portion of the mailbag: when do we get a post-camp 2-deep version 2.0?
I don't know that there's really anything that changed.
The people want what they want, Chad.
Okay, I'll just copy, paste, change it to 2.0, and hit publish. Like I don't like maybe Sims. Maybe Sims has moved his way up ahead of Thompson at one of the linebacker spots. Other than that, I think everything is pretty much as I had it a week and a half ago or whatever it was when I first did it. So I'll go back and look and see if it warrants, maybe an update this weekend. But I don't know that there's much that has changed.
All right. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. Will there be enough shooting around Aziz and Mitchell for them to play extended minutes together? For example, Jizzle, Skilling, Seamus, Mitchell, Aziz is a popular starting lineup right now. The pessimist in me says that's not enough floor spacing.
I mean, I guess it would depend on how long of a stretch those guys are on the floor together. I don't think you're going to see extended stretches with this group of guys being on the floor together for, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes at a time for it to really, make a considerable impact. I guess the answer is it depends on how Jizzle and Dan shoot the ball. If those guys are still under 30% for the year type shooters, then no, there's probably not going to be enough shooting on the floor to run that lineup out there, for chunks at a time as your primary lineup. If those guys are up around 33, 34% with CMOS and the rebounding that you would get with that group, yeah, I think you'd be okay.
Because CMOS was elite down the stretch.
That means the shot doctor is in.
But yeah, Chad.
By the way,
yeah,
Drew Adams, Wednesday night BCJ pod. You guys want your summer basketball update?
Oh,
a little Drew Adams action. Figured it's probably gonna be our last chance until practice, basketball practice starts.
Yeah,
to get a full recap of how the summer has gone. So I just confirmed with Drew. He will be joining us Wednesday night at 8.
That's called a tease for the BCJ.
That
pod.
is
Fantastic.
I'm excited.
Tease. Me too.
Drew and I have been talking about having Drew on for 2 years.
The first time he was on was awesome. It was a really good pod. So
yeah,
shouts. And did you know this is episode 197, Chad, of the BVP?
Okay.
We're inching ever closer to that episode 200.
It's going to be in the middle of football season, so you know what we'll do? We'll talk about football.
Talk about the awesome win that we just had over. What would that be, Miami? Yeah.
No, I think it'd be
Excitement
Pitt,
is
right?
building for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be Pitt.
Excitement is building for this season, so wanted to summarize what our preseason looks like. When does fall practice start? Do we know the opponents / dates of our super secret scrimmages? Are the super secret scrimmages still secret, or are they now open to the press?
Fall practice starts the last week of September. Super secret scrimmage opponents and dates have been the farthest thing from my mind of late, so I'll need to circle back around on that as I get back into a normal routine that doesn't involve driving out to higher ground every day. So, and I don't think they're open. I think there was a proposal to open them to the media, but I don't think it passed, if I remember correctly, because I think it was part of that proposal that would allow them to be public, allow you to sell tickets, and all that stuff got it didn't get voted down, but it got tabled for further consideration. So I don't think media is going to be allowed at super secret scrimmages yet, but I think it could be something that you'll see hopefully starting next year.
And those are different than the exhibition games where they raise money for this, that, and the other, right?
Well, that's a charity event, and you can do a scrimmage as a charity event. You just have to jump through a bunch of hoops through the NCAA. X and Dayton are doing one.
Yeah.
It was my understanding is there was going to be a 4-team event that was a charity exhibition that was going to involve UC, Ohio State, Dayton, and Xavier. UC was going to play Ohio State, Dayton was going to play X, and then when that thing got shut down, it kind of the UC Ohio State part of it kind of fell apart. But X and Dayton are still doing a scrimmage for charity. So
yes, for charity, but the other part,
be a good chance to get a look at two future UC opponents. How about
right? That? Exactly. It's an easy scout. There we go.
That's the basketball portion of the mailbag. The last portion of the mailbag coming from the banks. We actually have 2 questions in here this week.
Oh,
first one. The Cincinnati Chili Commission tasks you to create a 6-way and a 7-way. What are the food items that you add?
Royer.
Oh, no sound. You're muted.
Sour cream and jalapenos.
How about this, Royer? Fried jalapenos.
Oh, a little crunch.
Beast mode.
A little batter. Dip them in the fryer. Little fried jalapeno rings on the top. That would be my addition. Fried jalapeno rings.
Then what's the 6th?
Well, I don't eat onions, so that's out anyway. I would go beans, clearly.
Yep.
3, 4, 5 would be the fried jalapenos. I don't know. Grippos. Ooh, that's a good one, Geoff.
That would be nice.
Some crunched up barbecue grippos on top of the 3-way.
Your dog likes the sound of that.
Yeah. I'll be barking back there now.
Excited about that idea.
Some of that.
Could go crazy, throw some glizzy on there, a little mustard
too.
Just a little funky cold Medina.
I was gonna suggest the hot dog as well, like some little hot dog pieces. Yeah.
But yeah,
hot dog on a plate.
Hey now, that could be good.
Unreal.
Gosh, I need some Skyline. Sounds good. All right, next one.
What's your fast food starting lineup? You can pick any fast food chain / food item, but you cannot use the same chain twice. Number 1, sandwich. 2, fries. 3, flex side. 4, drink. 5,
Flex side.
dessert.
The hell is a flex side, man?
Non-French fry side, I would imagine.
Sandwich. We're going. Sandwich. We're going Chick-fil-A.
Before we dive in, though, guys, what do you qualify as a fast food? Like,
drive-through.
Okay, drive-through. So
Chipotle isn't a drive-through.
Chipotle is not fast food. It's like for Lent every year I give up fast food. So, but like I can eat Chipotle and Jersey Mike's and yeah,
no,
and pizza.
That's not how that works.
Yeah,
you're going to hell.
If you can order it on an app, it's fast food, bro.
Oh, I can order from the steakhouse on an app.
No, that
you got a point there.
That's Grubhub. That's not their own app.
Fair.
Damn.
All right, back to it.
I'm gonna get tied up here. All right, Chick-fil-A sandwich, McDonald's fries, flex side. Probably go with some from Popeyes. Maybe the mashed potatoes and gravy. Well, Popeyes.
The red beans and rice are fire.
Red beans and rice is so good too.
Okay.
4, drink. Not having McDonald's as the drink makes it hard because Sprite or Coke for McDonald's is next level. But
that Diet Coke from and the spicy Sprite. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll do Wendy's. A little Dr. Pepper from Wendy's.
Okay. I got that
dessert. Then we're gonna have to go as like steak and shake milkshake.
Oh,
steak and shake's got a drive-through. It counts.
Which flavor? Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cup.
Okay.
Cookies and cream.
Okay, now.
All right. I'm out. You guys.
Popeye spicy chicken sandwich. Fries. I'm going to go Rallies.
Ooh.
Only so that I can use McDonald's sweet tea as the drink.
Oh, I did go through a Mickey D sweet tea phase. No doubt about that.
Flex side. Chick-fil-A, I think you have to include Chick-fil-A at some point. So I'll go to Chick-fil-A mac and cheese, which I think is good.
You get that little, that little baked part on the top. That's good.
And because they have a drive-through, that means I can use a DQ Blizzard as my dessert.
Yeah, that is fast food. Factual. That's factual. Okay, take it away, Aaron.
Can you use Jimmy John's?
Come on, man.
They're freaky fast.
Go ahead. Fast food. Go ahead.
I say Jimmy John's Gargantuan is a hell of a sandwich.
The JJG, huh?
Yep.
It's not better than the Italian at Jersey Mike's, though.
Jersey Mike's stomps all over Jimmy John's, but hey,
Jersey Mike's takes the time to slice the meat. I didn't think I could use that as a fast food.
Okay, now you're talking my language. That's my Lenten go-to right there.
Jimmy John's uses the freaky fast in the slogan. Fries. I'm gonna say Chick-fil-A's fries with the Polynesian sauce.
Oh, okay now.
Banger.
Okay now.
Flex side. I was gonna say the red beans and rice. Those are phenomenal.
That's heat.
At Popeyes.
That is fire.
That works.
It's so good. Like a spicy chicken sandwich and a red beans and rice.
But since it's already been mentioned, I'll go cinnamon twists at Taco Bell for fun.
That's a side, not a dessert in your estimation?
I don't think it's a dessert. But if it's a
the
dessert,
cinnamon twist, that's 1,000,000% dessert.
Nah, just because it's cinnamon sugar doesn't mean it's a dessert. It's just deep fried foam.
Yeah, true.
Paul, you can't get a cheese coney as a flex side. I don't think that counts, sir.
It does when you're getting a three-way, four-way, or five-way as your main dish.
Okay,
I'm rocking.
That's a valid argument, Aaron.
That's
a valid argument.
I'm
in
rocking
that
with
order,
Paul. Yeah.
Technically, the cheese coney would be the side dish to your three-way. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Drink. I'm gonna go Cane's sweet tea.
Oh,
Cane's got good sweet. It's not as good as McDonald's, but it's
all right
good.
now, Cane's. Okay.
And then dessert. Chad took my Blizzard. I don't know those the holiday pies at McDonald's.
Okay.
With the custard inside, those baked pies, they're pretty good.
All right.
There's two other places that have great milkshakes. Kind of underrated, sneaky underrated. Arby's has a great milkshake.
Okay.
Mocha.
And White Castle's has a great milkshake.
Okay.
I didn't even know White Castle had a milkshake.
It's shockingly very good.
After a long night of drinking, a milkshake is the last thing I want at a White Castle drive-thru.
Kelsey loves White Castle's cheese fries. So it's just the fries, and then they dump the cheese sauce on them.
Okay.
She eats them with a fork. So
yeah,
I've been inclined. Did you know for 2 chicken sandwiches, 2 chicken sliders, a small fry, and a small drink, it's $10
at White Castle.
I should have gone spicy nugs. As a flex side.
That's a power flex side. I'm surprised we didn't get a lot of Wendy's. Paul said Dave Single, cheesy Fiesta potatoes, a cheese coney, and a Baja Blast. And he didn't give us a dessert. That's pretty strong. You're gonna shit for 2 days, Dave.
No, that's strong. Sandwich, chili cheese sandwich, fries. Give me some
Frosty. Ooh,
some
chocolate Frosty from Wendy's.
Arby curly fries. Flex side, I'll go with a cheesy gordita crunch from Taco Bell. Drink, margarita from a Taco Bell cantina. Dessert will be.
We've lost everyone.
Yeah, and then dessert. Yeah, the cookies from what's
Penn Station.
Okay. Penn Station cookies are fire. Chocolate chip cookies. Yeah.
Oh,
they stay soft.
There we go. You can go Graders.
Graders is not fast food, sir.
They've got some drive-thrus every once in a while.
They've got an app.
They got an app for you, baby.
Ryan, how was the ice cream cake? Speaking of Graders,
I didn't get it.
You soft ass.
But I'll go back there and get it. It's like a 10-minute walk from my house.
Great question.
That was a great question.
That was.
Finish it off with some in-depth football analysis.
Yes. That's what we need.
Cookout chicken wrap. Yeah, there's no cookouts around here.
Yeah. I mean, get a pub sub.
I think cookout's a little overrated.
You got the Bowberry biscuits from Bojangles.
The Bojangles is gas.
Yeah.
I would trade every Cane's in America for a Bojangles.
Wow, that's a hot take.
I don't like Cane's.
Zaxby's
Their chicken fingers good. They sell Cane's. Cane's sells chicken pinkies. They don't even sell chicken fingers anymore. It's just like true. It's like this big.
Steak, egg, and cheese bagel would be another good sandwich.
Aaron, that is an underrated pick. Good job. With extra breakfast sauce, please.
Just saying, that's a fantastic sandwich. All right,
yeah.
My roommate in college, this was back before Twitter was a huge thing. He kept on blowing up McDonald's, just sending pictures of his like poorly made sandwiches and stuff. They gave him free breakfast for the entire school year.
That's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent.
It's phenomenal. Steak, egg, and cheeses, bacon, egg, and cheese bagels, just on lock. But yeah, week 0, college football's back. Shouts to our guy, Nico Palacetti. He always brings the heat. He brings the excitement, brings the fire. He's got me locked in and ready. Loved having him on the show. Yet again, one more quick mention. Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Tell him that Nico sent you. Get that $31 oil change, of course, for the opening game against Towson coming on the 31st. So,
look, by the way, there's no better deal in America than the Costco foot-long, quarter-pound glizzy and a soft drink
for $1.50, right?
Six quarters.
Yep.
But they don't have a drive-through, so it's not fast food.
That's a good point. Yeah, and you actually got to be like in the membership to go.
You have
there,
to have
right?
a membership to get in to do it. So
that's
that means
better than most
if you don't have a member
establishments out there.
Then it's $61.50.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
And that, on the other hand, is a fucking expensive hot dog and soft drink.
That's true. That is true. Something that is not expensive is that $31 oil change over at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Just mention Nico. Tell him that Nico sent you. But shouts to Nico for popping on the pod. Shouts to Danco. Shouts to New Riff. Thank you, Chad, for coming in and saving us on the read there. Gotta love New Riff and my favorite segment of New Riffing with Royer. And then, of course, shouts to Quick Paper Supply for all the timestamps they bring us. The season is almost here, guys. Obviously, Wednesday, Drew Adams. Next week, we'll be previewing just the season as a whole as we get ready for a lot of excitement here in the fall year. So, for my guys, my pals, crew, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Yet another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!